All right, I want to say hello to everyone who is logged into this video. I'm going to be talking about building buy-in as a school leader when it comes to a focus on STEM education. I want to start, if you have any questions or want to see some of the stuff we do here at East Robertson Elementary School, my Twitter handle is at Coach Willow, or email Cory.Willoughby@rcstn.net. If there's anything that you want to ask, something that catches your attention during this, or even some feedback for us that you think we could be doing better here in our journey to become STEM certified, or to really focus on STEM education, please feel free to send something over on one of those. But like I said, East Robertson Elementary, we're in Robertson County, Tennessee, north of Nashville, not too far off I-65, close to the Kentucky state line. This is my first year as principal here. I served as an assistant principal for 3 years at Crestview Elementary in Springfield. Before that was a high school social studies teacher and football coach, so done a little bit of everything. People call me crazy for leaving high school to go to elementary. One thing I really enjoy is the excitement, the wonder, the genuine happiness we get in a lot of the elementary students that, to me, didn't always see at the high school level. So just that relationship we could build there. But I want to talk about building buy-in towards STEM. Several years ago here at East Robertson, they wanted to make a push towards STEM, and of course that nasty thing we call COVID hit and really put a damper on that. When I got here in August, me and my AP, Miss Young, walked the halls and I saw the 4 letters STEM posted on the wall, and asked her, so are we a STEM school? What's our focus? I know a couple schools in the county talk about it, want to do it, but haven't made that shift quite there yet. I'm going to put this down. I'm using a swivel. It seems like it may be causing to move around. Maybe that'll do better in my jacket pocket. So I had those letters on the wall, and she said, we wanted to do that. It's something we found important, but with COVID, with a lot of things, our focus really shifted off of that. I said, well, let's put that back into focus. Let's see if that's something we want to do. Let's go for it. And there's been a lot of things we've done, but the first part of the year I wanted to listen. I wanted to see if that's something everyone was going to be invested in. So I guess my first step in building that buy-in is to make sure people are going to buy in. Were teachers going to be receptive? I've been in too many places, seen too many people push out these great ideas that they think are wonderful, to have no one really care, to no support behind it. So I wanted to see what supports we were going to have there, and I knew there was going to be some that would jump right in, some that'd be middle of the road, and those that could care less. And we've filtered through that as the year has gone on. So we went some time, I listened to different ideas. We had a STEM committee, and I wanted to listen to them and their ideas, and some were all for it. Some had great ideas, were willing to write grants, to do all these different things, and others were just there because they were told they had to be there for a committee. So we had to work to build that buy-in there first and listen to teachers and what they wanted to do. So as we went through, we heard different ideas. What are some things we want to focus on? How can we embed this with our current curriculum expected from the county, with our current standards expected from the state? We got some ideas and went from there. And one of the things that I wanted to build on once I had that groundwork is to push why. Why do we want to do STEM? That's been kind of a target word recently, is why. What is your why for doing anything? So we work to develop our why here. For me personally, it's that building of problem-solving attributes. I had a colleague of mine one time, we were sitting in the coach's office, and I asked him, hey, tell me how to do this and this on the computer. He said, why should I tell you anything? Figure it out. He said, I may not always be here to tell you how to do something. That's not what life is about, telling you how to do something. Figure it out. And I think that's important to help our kids understand, is they are intelligent enough, they can work hard enough to figure these things out. And through STEM, we can help them develop that capability of not just having to recall memory of I've been told this or this is what it is, but I can problem solve, trial and error, experiment to learn whatever it is I need to learn. So that's part of our why, and not being a live presentation, I don't have to give you much wait time here. You can pause it. But I want you to think about that. If you are a school leader or if you're in a leadership team role and you're really burning to get STEM going in your school, one of the things you need to do is develop a why and a good why that relates to your community, to your school. What are some things that are important to those people, those stakeholders, to really solidify buy-in in those ways? And I'm going to talk more about community, especially the longer we go. So in developing why with our staff and buy-in with our staff, there's a couple things. I had to show I was willing to do the work as a school leader. I think it's, as I mentioned before, too many times school leaders, we push out these great ideas that are going to look good to the school board, to the director, whoever it is, but we don't do the work ourselves. So some of the things I've done, I'm presenting from our library, which is a huge, it doesn't follow me, I'm figuring this out. We have a huge space for our library, one of the biggest, if not the biggest, in our county, so we are very lucky to have that. This was the old high school several years ago. So a couple things I did. One of the parts of STEM is that availability to students every single day. So me and my mentor, Miss Roseanne Alexander, formerly of Carmel Elementary in Clarksville, it's been great working with her, and I'll speak on that relationship the further I go as well, is how do you get STEM activities to kids every day? How do you make that available? So one of the things I did was, you can see these tables right here. I'm hoping if I can get my clicker to follow me, and it's not going to do great. I came into the library, I found some old tables. Here, this one I'll show. And it's a Lego table. Online, several $100s. We got a couple sheets of Lego pads. We had Legos donated from community members, from teachers, from whoever, and we have Lego tables. We have different puzzles, building activities, cubes, different types of STEM-related activities in our library. And it's and every time kids are in the library, they get to do it, but how do we get that every day? So one of the things we started doing, our librarian was great enough to make sure he was here and ready to go 5 minutes after the bell rings to open the doors every day. So we have open library every morning for 30 minutes. So kids have 30 minutes to come here, check out a book. If they were in the library yesterday and need a new book now, they can come get that, but also the availability of STEM tables. We have STEM activities available to kids every single day. Not follow me again. Here we go. So that's one thing that I came in and did that. I showed I was willing to do the work. So as that person pushing for STEM, be it school leader, whoever it is, are you doing the work and showing the buy-in yourself? Okay. We've also taken one of our computer labs and created, I hate to say makeshift STEM lab. We had a nice classroom size. We moved our computers along the wall. I've had some teachers that were really invested in that, and we looked at our budget and looked at what we needed, and we really couldn't afford to have these great maker spaces or all these different things. So we just thought, what can we do? We went through closets, we found old shelves, and we were able to create a STEM lab out of repurposed tables. That were computer tables. We've moved those around, created collaborative stations in there. We've got a station for math, for writing. We've got maker spaces built out of but shelves that were used for storing different supplies in our library. We've moved those in there, and we've got our own STEM lab. It's still in the works, still not quite what we want it to be, but we are getting there slowly but surely. One of our other, and probably our biggest to date, and I say to date, it's been less than a year, I started in August, is our greenhouse. We have a 48 by 25 foot fully operational greenhouse. If you follow me on Twitter, you'll see some pictures going up of the kids working there. Miss Roseanne Alexander, speaking with her, said, I'm just torn with, and you all work with schedules. You know what it's like to fit all these things in from your ELA, your math, your physical education 2 times a week. How do we fit STEM in? Where do we get that? And she said, well, how are you enriching your Tier 1 kids? I said, it's a great thought. I didn't think of that. I just, somebody takes them, they read a book, they do. I hate to say that, but sometimes we don't always feed those high Tier 1 kids in our RTI time the stuff they need. So one of my 5th grade teachers, Miss Julie Strauss, she came to me day 1. I knew she was bought in before I knew I needed buy-in in STEM. She said, I want to do ag in the classroom. I said, Miss Stroud, I just walked in the door. Hi, I'm Cory Willoughby. I'm the new principal. And she said, yeah, I want to do ag in the classroom. She had a training over the summer and was just completely bought in. This is how I can support Tier 1 students. We can do Tier 2 if we need to. RTI time, we can really focus in on ag in the classroom through these programs. I said, okay, let me breathe, let me look at it. So time went on. We got closer to the middle of the year, and she kept bringing me the idea. And I started to realize it wasn't someone who was going to quickly burn out and would just win a training, wanted to do this, and a few weeks later was going to be done. So I approached her. I said, Ms. Stroud, what do you think about greenhouse? You want to do ag in the classroom? What better way than to have a classroom that is ag? We can do all these possibilities. And if you don't know anything about East Robertson Elementary, Cross Plains, or Linda, it is a farming community. Huge farms around us. Several of our kids grow up on farms. That's what they know. So Ms. Stroud's got about 30 years experience. She's taught some of these farmers that now have kids in our building. So we called those guys and we said, this is what we want to do. So another part of that buy-in is the community support. We bring these guys in, we tell them our plan, and they're all in. They love the idea of providing their kids opportunities to learn while getting real-life experience, while experimenting, while problem-solving, while getting their hands dirty doing these things. They were all in on that. So we're able to bring the community in. We're able to, Ms. Stroud took on the load of calling different people, companies, local farms, local shops, whoever it could be that could give us money, supplies, whatever it was, and ended up raising quite a bit of money. And that's one of the things when you're listening to this and saying, budget doesn't allow that. And I know not every community is going to be able to do this, but if you bring in that community support, you build the buy-in from your community, things like that are going to start to fall into place. And it may not always be dollars. It may not be money and checks that come in to pay for these things. But people are there's a lot of experts in different fields in every community that are willing to give some time and effort back to kids because they were there one day too. So you will go out and ask. And that's one of those guys said to me, he said, man, I'm so excited to do this. I told him, I said, I'm sorry, I'm taking so much time. We're calling. We're asking you to teach us, even me, what a greenhouse is, how it works. And he says, I'm just glad someone asked. I'm glad to be involved in our local schools. So we're building buy-in by just inviting those people in, getting their input. So our entire Tier 1 RTI class in Miss Stroud's 5th grade, so about 30 kids, they spend the first half of the second semester researching greenhouses. They're learning about temperature, about size, about the different things that are going to make a greenhouse work. They do all that work, and with the side, we're working with our farmers on what their thoughts are. We come to a conclusion of a plan, where it should be, why it should be here, how we're going to provide electricity, water, all these different things that kids have had to think of. We go to the school board, and I have the kids present. So parents, we're not just doing this for the kids. The kids are having a major stake in this. Parents see this, the opportunities their kids are getting. Our school board is seeing what we're doing for the kids. So now we've got teachers that are buying in. We've got parents, community members that are buying in. We've got school board members, directors, all those people buying into our idea because they see the benefits of this for the kids, what the kids do. So how are we benefiting the kids? So going back to other parts of buy-in, we've talked about the teachers that want. We talked about community members. Or it's what they do. They're gonna. You start bringing ag in the classroom. Yeah, farmers are gonna be in. You start having kids present at board meetings and can articulate what they want to do, why it's important to them. You're going to have buy-in there, but we've got a building full of other teachers who aren't on STEM committee, who don't care to do any of this, who don't want that extra on their plate. Why should I support this? Why should I spend my time doing that? Because I've got reading, ELA or RLA, whatever you call it. I got those standards, I got those time constraints, I've got math. They got to go to recess for this much time. We got to do PE twice a week. We got to go lunch. We got transitions. We got all these things. So back to, and I lean on Miss Roseanne Alexander a lot, and I hope she watches this. And I owe her a lot of credit for a lot of the things we have been able to accomplish here this year. She showed me this. She said, because I had the same reservations. How do I get that in every class, every day? She said, this is how this hits the rubric for TSIN, as well as helping build some buy-in with those teachers. She said at Carmel Elementary, they would take once in 9 weeks and kind of plan out their big project, and they'd take their, we call ELA, and I don't know how your schools work. Here, time limits science and social studies. Science and social, and that's every PLC, every faculty meeting, every just conversation and passing. Mr. Willoughby, I have no time for science and social studies. Where do we've got 15 minutes on the schedule, but we got transitions, we got bus duty, we got all these things. Start cutting out these two, because all honesty, we can be real. That test scores right now for elevator. That's what. So, Miss Roseanne Alexander, she said, first PLC every 9 weeks. Take your 4 core subjects. What standards are we hitting this 9 weeks? What are we going to talk about in ELA? Look at benchmark scores, at TCAP scores. What's on our pacing guide for this first 9 weeks that we traditionally struggle with? Math, science, social studies, and how can we tie all these in to one project? How can we make that a PBL? How can we make this interesting? I'm an old I taught social studies. I'm a history major. I love talking about history. My boys love talking about history with me. I don't know why. I guess I did something to make them interested in history. But what do we hear the most? Kids don't like history. They don't like social studies. Boring, it's always old people. How can we get them interested in social studies other than PBLs? We're tying all these standards. We make it interesting, get it hands-on. We're doing these interesting things with it. So doing this, we're going to collaborate, we're going to tie in cross-curricular activities, problem-based learning. There is so much that can be hit right there. So, building on that, I want to talk about how we created buy-in, because I don't want it to be a flash pan activity. And I was warned about our greenhouse already. Don't let this be a flash pan activity where you got all this excitement, board presentation, ribbon cutting, newspaper stories, and then a few months later it's falling by the wayside because nobody's interested anymore. And I didn't want our STEM push to be that either, because August came in, September, and I saw those 4 letters on the wall, STEM. Man, you guys want to do STEM, let's go, let's do it. I had to step back. This can't be, let's go, let's do it, and then we'll just let it go away. So, Miss Alexander looked with me. We looked at the rubric. I said, let's go. Let's apply. Pull up the application. Put it in East Robertson Elementary. We're going to do it. She said, oh, no, Cory, back up. Are you able to do this right now? Can you say you've done this? I was like, yeah, Miss Alexander, we get her name up there. We're doing, we're trying. Yeah, it's fun. Everybody. 5-6 months from now, are you going to be doing these things because you're doing them right now? because you want a title, because you want to be designated, you want all these things. Is that what it's about, or is it about doing it for the kids? Fair enough. Good point. So we sat down, we started making a plan. And Miss Alexander, like I said, was principal of Carmel Elementary. They had a garden, they were STEM certified, and she has probably forgotten more about STEM than I'll ever know. A great resource. If any district people are out there listening, from a first-year principal, get you a hard-nosed, smart former principal that can mentor new principals, because I think it's important to have someone check in with us and give us and kind of check us every now and then and give us insight. And don't tell Ms. Alexander I said this a little crazy sometimes, because it's made the world of difference for a first-year school leader. So we sat down. She said, "Okay, Cory, you want to become STEM certified. That's your goal." I said, "Yes, ma'am. That's what we want to do." She said, "Let's make a plan." She said, "You can't apply." She said, "If you want my help, we're not going to apply this year." And that's a tough pill to swallow because I'm a go-getter. I want to do all these things. I said, "Yes, ma'am." I said, "Okay, what's our goal then?" She said, "You build. You start creating activities now that show you're invested, that start building buy-in with teachers, with the community, different things." So again, going back to these activity tables in the library, Lego tables, all these different things that are showing our buy-in. We're going to start building that portfolio. How are we making this library more collaborative? How are we making this school more collaborative? How are we making it more project-based? How are we embedding those things? So in the first year, we're doing all those things. We get the rubric. We look at the rubric. We start modeling our practices after those things are expected of us, but we're not going to jump in feet first and rock the world, because it's probably not going to work. Again, don't want it to be a flash pan activity, because you can get, and we all know those teachers. I was there, young teacher, go to that PD, and oh, that's what I'm going to do. It's so exciting. That's perfect. That is the perfect classroom, whatever it is. And then the excitement from that PD or that presentation wears off, and we don't do it. Plain, So we didn't want that to be our process here. So we start listening to different people. Where do we get our PBLs from? Is there a website? Is there somewhere a resource? We can start building PBLs. She showed me this. Have some ownership. Have your teachers. You want buy-in. You want it to be worth their time. Have them create it. Now my teachers can't come to me. They can't say, "But Mr. Willoughby, I got to teach ELA. ELA is more important than STEM." Well, you're hitting your ELA standards. We look at those TCAP reports from last year. 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th, whoever, you really struggled right here. This standard. So now we're cross-curricular, we're tying in with these math standards we struggled on, some science standards. The kids are having fun. If you go on there and look at the kids that have never had their hands dirty before, digging in potting soil and planting flowers today in our greenhouse. Kids that never would have that opportunity are out there getting to do these things. And it's based on stuff we need, they need. So we're building by that. So second year, we'll look at it. Where are we at? Do we have a solid STEM committee? Because right now our STEM committee, it's a struggle. Had been doing the bare minimum. Oh, we'll do a STEM activity here. We'll throw it out. It'll be fun. We need more meaningful STEM. So we're not just doing little things here and there to say STEM. Kids thinking. How is this building on their academic needs, the core standards, things that are going to make them more benefit them more as they go along as students at East Robertson Elementary, Robertson County Schools, State of Tennessee, wherever it is, more productive members of society. So we want to build on those things. So we look at year 2. Let's start the process. And actually now looking ahead to year 2, I've reached out to some people. We're redefining our STEM committee, those roles, requesting the county give us the budgetary money for a STEM teacher so we can really get a focus on project-based learning that focuses on all the subjects, especially on standards that are standards of need based on benchmark and TCAT data. So we've got those things going right now. And continuing to build those community partnerships. So right now we've got several community members through our Ag in the Classroom push that we're getting in there, local farmers that have students, that their kids go here, they see the benefits firsthand of what we're trying to do, why we're trying to do that. And one of the things that really motivated me, that bought me in even more, I was already bought in, I'm excited, I'm ready to go, bought me in even more than I didn't know I needed more buy-in. We were at the greenhouse ribbon cutting, and one of the parents, he was introducing, and I'd met him kind of in passing here and there, knew who he was. He was as excited as anybody, and he said, "Hey man, come here, I want to introduce you to Mr. Willoughby." Mr. Willoughby believes in giving our kids different opportunities for education. I was described as someone who believes in giving kids opportunities in education. That's what our community sees. They see East Robertson as a place that believes in giving kids opportunities in education. And how much, that just, even rejuvenated. We don't want to be a flash in the pan project. Man, that's a high compliment from a parent that they see that effort going from our teachers, our school, for their kids. So, building onto that, what's our PD look like? And that's another one of the components of the rubric is professional development. We're going to work with the Innovation Academy in Springfield, formerly Springfield Middle, Miss Maureen Henderson. Hopefully she gets a chance to watch this. It's been a great asset. They've been working towards STEM designation and probably deserve it as much as anyone for the work they do there. Dr. Bell and the people he has on staff there. I got to tour with them, see a lot of the things they're doing. So we're partnering with them over the summer on digging deeper into the rubric for STEM certification. So we're doing that. We've got a program through Farm Bureau. Ms. Stroud, my 5th grade teacher, who's really making a push for STEM, especially in 5th grade, Ag in the Classroom. This was the PD she went to last summer. That maybe, who knows, is the driving force, the catalyst behind all this. They're going to come to East Robertson, do Ag in the Classroom presentations, how we can implement Ag in the Classroom STEM type activities in our Tier 1 and even some Tier 2 supports for our students in that RTI time. So we're going to have that, and we're going to embed things as we go along that give us a stronger push, stronger understanding of STEM. I was doing some interviews a few weeks ago. You all know school leaders at that time of year. And I would ask the interviewees, what do you know about STEM? And I know a lot of them don't know a whole lot unless you come from a school that's really making the push toward that. And one of my favorite answers was, I don't know, but I really want to work to figure it out. And I told her, I said, you know what, I don't know a whole lot either. I can barely spell STEM some days. But that's the point. Adults, lifelong learners, we've heard that since our college days, but willing to figure it out, willing to problem solve, to understand what this is. And I'm excited. That person's going to be joining our staff next year, and I think is going to be a huge asset in the goals we are trying to accomplish moving forward here at East Robertson Elementary. So we're building our PDs in. And they've got to be meaningful PDs, because we're talking about building buy-in. We've all sat through those really bad, really boring PDs. Hopefully, to goodness, this isn't one of them. I hope you're still, for 30 minutes in, I hope you're still attentive and really, hopefully, drawing something from this. But we can't have PDs that are boring, that just really turn us off and bury our buy-in for STEM. So I know from what Ms. Stroud and some other teachers that went to those Ag in the Classroom activities, very hands-on, very interactive, because that's what we want kids doing. We want kids to be attentive. We want them to be engaged. We want them to be hands-on. So our teachers and training need to be doing that as well. So those are the things we're doing. We're embedding that through our staff meeting times, through our PLC times, building a better and deeper understanding of what STEM is, what STEM's going to be. So building buy-in, we're also, how do we fund this? And I've kind of made mention of that before. You're probably sitting there saying, how in the world, where are you getting all this money to do all this stuff? And again, I want to go back to our tables over here. These tables, if you can see this one a little bit, it was just an old library table. Went and got some actually white paint out of my garage, painted it, and now it's just a brighter, nicer table for kids to work, do puzzles, build on, mess with that. These Lego sheets, just got on Amazon, $5-6 a piece, enough to fill this table. Legos donated, pool noodles that are $1 a piece around the edge. You've got a Lego table for kids to sit and do Legos on. All these different things in our cart, manipulatives, different things were in the school. A lot of our STEM lab stuff were things that were just in the school that we repurposed. We said for so long they've sat on a shelf and collected dust because we didn't know what they were for, what they could be used for. They were a waste of time. Kids shouldn't be playing in school. They got to be doing this. Why can't kids have a little fun? So the kids are bought in. The kids come in. We got a Lego table. We do Legos. We get to build these things. We get to experiment. They're all in. Dashing dot robots, coding with robots. The kids love those things. So as we can build, sorry, I'm trying to get my screen back on me. That enthusiasm, the kids was one of the easiest, obviously. But now that people are seeing we can do little things to do this, there's other TVA. My STEM teacher, or not STEM teacher, my STEM chair, Ms. Jennings, worked her tail off writing the TVA grant, and we got it just, the process just in time. So like I said, I tried to sit on it, didn't want to do that flash pan activity. I said, Ms. Jennings, let's write this TVA grant. I've seen others getting it. I think we can do a lot of things with it. So she worked. She said these prioritized some things we needed, what we wanted to do, wrote the grant, and ended up getting that grant. So that was $5,000 just through some writing that we were able to get a lot of money to support this goal in STEM. And I hope I may get taken out and watch my back for salespeople. But you don't always have to get those huge, nice, grand maker spaces or whatever. Be budget friendly. You got creative. Have you seen teacher classrooms? Go look in a kindergarten teacher's classroom and tell me they can't create some huge, awesome, decorated maker space setup. Find the teachers, and that creates their buy-in too when you believe in their ability to create, to draw things up. You can have a great STEM lab, great stuff. And that's one thing Miss Maureen Henderson at IA, Innovation Academy in Springfield, look them up. They're doing some great stuff over there. Pretty close. And that was my concern was, I can't afford a makerspace. You know how much makerspaces are? I got in the wrong business. She said, oh no, look, we've got old bookshelves, we've got little shoe boxes, little dollar store, and all our supplies are in. A lot of those supplies were donated. Following some of the other schools on Twitter and seeing what they're doing. Hey, this class is doing this week. Can you donate some of these things? I was like, we get this stuff donated? Why didn't I think of that? That's brilliant. So now, hey, we're reaching out. Hey, can somebody donate this, and this? We need these things for a project. And the pipe cleaners? Absolutely. We'll go to store some pipe cleaners. What? Cotton balls? Yeah, come on. Old milk jugs, water bottles? Yeah, absolutely. We'll get you. So not letting the excuse or the constraint of budget tie us down, we've been able to expand our horizons. We've been able to do a lot more through those different things. So don't let budget scare you. Look for those different grants, things like that. Miss Stroud, she just beat the doors down. Hey, we're wanting to build a greenhouse. It's expensive. But do you want your kid to have an opportunity, or the students of this community to have an opportunity to do something no other kid at this school's ever had, or any other a lot of others in this county don't have, and former students, and when we build that buy-in with the community of how this is benefiting their kids, the community as a whole, we start getting those things, we start getting support, and, financially, and a lot of other ways too. One of the other things to promote, and I'm starting to get kind of on a ramble, I apologize, reflecting on my notes. I want to help build buy-in. Again, Mr. Willoughby, how do we fit this in the schedule? Get STEM for every kid every day? Grade level cards, recess. Because not every child loves to play football, kickball, whatever at recess, but we can get them cards, especially on rainy days. I know teachers hate rainy days where it's like, all right, indoor recess, just don't hurt each other. STEM cards, similar to what I've got over there. I showed you with the tables in the library. We roll those STEM cards out. The kids have STEM activities at their hands during recess. So that availability is there every single day for every child. And look, donated various board games that incorporate STEM. Lego kits. There's so many things that we don't always think of that can create that wonder and imagination and that creativity from kids. So I've talked about PLCs. Our reward days and parent nights, we start building that in as a reward. We are an RTI square B2, RTI 2B, sorry, it's late in the day. Model of demonstration, silver level school, very proud of the work our RTI square B team does. So once in 9 weeks we have celebration days where kids get to use their dojo dollars or to participate in various activities. And we make STEM activities one of those. Our family night, we had a reading night this past year, and several hundred people showed up. We actually had food for a lot of people, and that ran out within an hour because people were excited to be in our building. We are building that buy-in for not just STEM, but our school, a love of learning in this community. So in our library, we had a STEM activity for families to do together. We built little houses and had a fan. Could you make a house that would stand up through the wind? And families loved it. They loved the idea, the activities of working together, collaborating to solve a problem. So we build that buy-in through encouraging families, bringing them in as well. We talked about creating our plan, and I hope you will do that. I hope if you're serious, if you're a school leader, you do that. You have a vision for why you want to do that. If you're a teacher who needs to convince a school leader of why you should be given the opportunity, why you should try this, why is it important, create a plan. It's one of the things I really emphasize with my teachers. If you have a problem, I'll gladly listen to it if you have a solution. Now that solution may not be what we're always going to go with, but I'd much rather have a solution to a problem before you just come in with a problem and expect me to fix it. Because if we can work together and build on that solution, it's going to go a lot further than just bringing a complaint. Talked about our why, talked about PD. We incorporate STEM in our after-school tutoring, our summer learning camps, and those are statewide mandated, so you can begin to see the benefits of that. So I'll end with this. Go see other schools. Go see their buy-in there. Go see what they're doing. Go see the excitement, the joy, and the happiness on kids that are hands-on learning through STEM activities, the engagement that they create. Something our county and our district has focused on the last couple of years is, are kids compliant or are they engaged? Are they compliant during your lesson or are they engaged during your lesson? Man, you can be hitting every standard that in math and ELA that the state wants you to, that struggle on benchmark, but if your kids are just sitting there, just compliant, just the whole time, what are they getting? If they're engaged, if you've got a lesson on your ELA, your math standards that you really got to hit, you really got to do better on this year, kids really got to understand, if they're engaged in that lesson, They love coming to school. They love coming, sitting in your classroom. They love walking through the doors of your building every day. How much more beneficial? So go to these schools. Come see our kids work in the greenhouse and see kids that typically could care less about plants, flowers, whatever it is. Know that they're at school and they're getting to go out and see their and work with their teachers and plant flowers and water flowers and have fun and problem solve and understand, oh, me too. Oh, these curtains got to come up to make it cooler in here, but they also got to go down sometimes, and these fans got to kick on. There's going to be a temperature, and you're building all these things together. So go to the schools and see how they incorporate it, and not just how they incorporate it. Don't just get, again, flash pen ideas. Don't get robots are so cool. Everybody loves robots. See how the kids use them. See the engagement that it creates among kids. And personally, work with someone. Collaborate. That's what the whole thing's about, is collaboration. Collaborate with someone else. And I've not done a great job with this. Miss Alexander was assigned to me earlier in the year by central office. It's been one of the best gifts they could give me as a new school leader, is someone to bounce ideas off, someone who's been there, especially with our push towards STEM, that can help us out. So get you someone you can collaborate with. Maureen Henderson, like I talked about, Innovation Academy in Springfield. I've gotten the names from different people, several to work with. I'm following a bunch on Twitter, want to see what they're doing. But we're collaborating. That's the whole goal. We want to collaborate. We want our kids to collaborate. Adults, school leaders, teachers, we need to collaborate. Build buy-in amongst each other by working together. See what works for them, what doesn't work for them, what works for me, what doesn't work for me, and we can make it better for all of our kids. And I think a mentor, especially if you're a new school leader, if you're young at this, fairly young, I like to think, at least that's what people tell me, to be a school leader. A lot I haven't been able to experience and learn, things that I will learn, so having that mentor there, especially someone that has done that, has been a great asset in this journey. So I hope that something I talked about today has created some kind of thought in your head to how can I better. Maybe you're struggling to build buy-in. Maybe you are wanting to do this, you don't know quite how to yet, or you're there, you're working at it, but you need something else, because there's always something we can add to our toolkit, something we can add to our toolbox to make things better. So I do want to thank Miss Alexander, who's encouraged me so far along this process, Miss Stroud and Miss Jennings, who've worked helping me create this presentation, create these notes, and really create a culture here at East Robertson Elementary School that we collaborate, we focus on STEM. Again, please follow me. I'll follow back on Twitter at Coach Willow, Coach_Willow. And if anybody knows how to change that Twitter handle, I'm not Coach anymore. I love being called Coach. It's a great part of my life. But if I can change the principal, maybe let's collaborate. So that reach out, tag me in something, we'll work together. I love getting ideas from other principals, other STEM-minded people. Or if you got any kind of questions, feedback for me. Hey, I see that you want to do this, but maybe you should try this or this, or got a question for me, something I can help anybody out. And that's what's important here is, again, collaboration and working together to make the best for not just our kids, but all the kids that are shaping our future, our next generation. Anyway, Cory, Cory.Willoughby at rcstn.net is my email. Notorious for having my phone dinging all the time and answering emails. I like to do that. I like to get back to people. So again, I appreciate everyone time to listen. Hope you learned something from this, and we can make our next generation a little better together. Thank you.